Hi there, I'm John from Lazy Man Hobbies, and these are the figures I've gotten done between the month of March and June. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll start talking about them as we go through. So the first one I got done in the month of March was a Vanguard Space Marine that came from the box set Shadow Spear. He was a lot of fun to paint. It was pretty simple. I'm not too happy with the base, but what I tried was I just kind of super glued some rocks down there, painted it all black, and then dry brushed it white. I do this with another guardsman afterwards. Here's the guardsman I was talking about. There's quite a few guardsmen. What I did was I base painted them this camo green from a rattle can you can get at Canadian Tire. I'm not exactly sure the brand. I think it might be Rust-Oleum. Pretty sure that's it. Yeah, you can pick these up anywhere. It's a nice paint. It absorbs the paint really well. This next one here is a Chaos Space Marine with the flame weapon. I got him from a bunch of a friend of mine sold me a bunch of his old minis that he wasn't using anymore, and I stripped them and repainted them, and he's one of those. I'm a little bit happier with the base here. Here's a Cadian Guardsman I picked up in Kingston. I snipped off this little T-bar he had, and I just kind of use him as a little Vox caster. I'm happy with the base, but I never painted the rim. I'll get that done eventually, but I figured he was done when I got him done. This is Sergeant Lloyd. I picked him up on eBay. He's one of the Rogue Trader era type Imperial Guard guys before Warhammer 40k was really a thing. He's all made out of metal like the previous guy, and he's a lot of fun to paint. A little goofy looking, but I liked his helmet, so that's why I picked him up. This is a Mark III Space Marine that came out of the box set, just a box of Mark III Space Marines. It was a lot of fun to paint. I really liked the way the base turned out. It just, I mixed some of the snow effect, I'm not exactly sure what it's called, with some water and just liberally put it all over the place, and it's really good. I haven't recreated that since then, but I think I will. Here's another Imperial Guard. He's from that batch that I just quickly painted green with that Rust-Oleum paint and then painted over top. Its stuff's really convenient because it's a very matte finish, so when you paint, the acrylic paint really likes to attach itself to it. It's pretty fantastic to use as a primer. Yeah, he's fun. I wasn't too happy with the base at the time, but I fixed it since putting this video together. This another guardsman, same boat. He's been laying around for a while. With the green primer on, and then finally got to it back in March. This is a Val Allen Lieutenant. This guy here, he's made out of metal. I think he came in with the same bunch of 40k characters there that the friend of a friend sold to me. He was a lot of fun to paint. I have a video of him when I painted this one. Pretty fun. I find his chainsword looking kind of funny there. It's fun one to paint. Details are a little odd, but that's okay. They're earlier miniatures and they kind of look a little bit goofy, but I like them all the same. He's pretty cool. Now for the month of April, we got quite a few things done that month. Starting with the Chaos Renegade here. This was a fun little miniature I picked up off of eBay. I like the weird mushroom body thing he's got going on there. It's quite a bit of fun to paint. The power pack came from another kit that I found somewhere at some point, like a loose bit that I used, because he didn't come with a power pack when I bought him. Yeah, it was just a one solid piece of metal again, except for the plastic power pack. Yeah, pretty fun to paint. Looks a little goofy again, but you know, old minis look goofy. That's part of their charm, I guess. Next thing I built in April was this little ruined building. I used popsicle sticks, foam core or foam board, and drywall tape to make some flooring. It was quite fun. I glued down the sand and whatnot with white glue, painted it up. It was pretty much done. It was very easy, it didn't take too much time, and it was quite a bit of fun. If ever you get bored of painting miniatures, train's a good way to get something done and not focus too much on it looking fantastic and still usable. So it's gonna be sent to my brothers here in not too long, so they can actually use it for games and whatnot. The next thing I did was there's a tank trap from the game Dust. And what I did was I made a mold of that. It's the one that looks more white is the original, and then I just made a resin cast of it and painted these pretty much. I think I painted them together. Just spray painted it black and then brushed over top some gray and then some white. I'm not quite sure why the resin copy turned out to be more blue, but hey. The next thing here is a Eliminator, I believe. I tried to paint his camouflage like the Rhodesian camouflage. I'd found some moss from the tree when I was out on a walk, and I thought it looked pretty good for miniatures there. Later on I'd be painting them. Doesn't look quite as good as the rest, but you'll see why in a minute. This one I really like this miniature, I like the detail in it, and it's another one from the Shadow Spear box set. Quite a fun box set. Lots of cool little miniatures in there. This is another Mark III. I decided to spray paint that like moss stuff, the grassy, not too sure what it is, and it gave me a better effect. It looks more convincing than that other grass stuff. Just having a little bit of extra color in there. I think I just spray painted it with the black rattle can and some tan, and it gave it just a little bit more detail. It's another really fun miniature. Yeah, they're cool looking. I like these guys. Power pack sucks a little bit, but it's just because it kind of looks a little goofy, but the rest is cool. Moving on to the month of April, we have a Leopard C1. This was a fun little build. It's from the game Team Yankee. I got really excited when they finally introduced Canadian Army to it. I don't actually play any of the tabletop games, but I like the models. There's quite a bit of detail on there. The infrared searchlight is horrendous, so it's a terrible part of the kit. And the paint I use, a Vallejo NATO green, is a little too bright for what we have in the real army, but I mean, Leopard 1s aren't even in the Canadian Army anymore, so it doesn't really matter. Still a nice little build. I enjoyed it. Here we have my favorite miniature. It's the Primaris Apothecary. I really enjoyed painting this one. I put a lot of effort into it. I took my time. White's a difficult color, I keep hearing, but when you just use a white rattle can and then you wash it with, I think it's Nuln Oil, and then put on top of that just that white paint from Games Workshop, it goes pretty well. I tried making little green vials look like those health vials from Half-Life 2, so I don't know, it was a fun little build. This here's a Terminator. I just kind of rushed through this one. I didn't like how it turned out. I just wanted him done. I just finished the Primaris Apothecary when I started this one, so yeah, I didn't put too much effort in this. I just kind of wanted them done and out of the way because it's sitting there on my desk for a long while, half painted, and yeah, he's not too good looking compared, especially to my other Terminators. This is the first dust American soldier I painted. I like the wintry kind of. Well, the miniatures look like they had cold weather gear on, so all I did was spray paint it with a coat of a white. I'm not sure exactly which. It's a rattle can of white paint. For the armor, I put a little bit of that brown wash. I'm not sure what it's called. Over top. It's from Games Workshop. The next thing I did was use the Apothecary white contrast paint. Painted black on the rifle and black on the boots. Now for the month of June, there's going to be a lot of Dust Troopers in this one also. So I'd finished the first one a couple days before the month of June, and then we started this one here. Quite happy with the new troopers, to be honest. Here we have another one. He's a rocket trooper from the same game, same type of thing. I put snow, and one thing my fiance would always complain about was that the snow was too clean on all my other miniatures, so I'd started, putting some burn marks and whatever, trying to make it look dirty, trying to make it look like a battlefield there, and it sort of worked. It kind of looks okay for the miniatures, I guess. And they're all clumped together, it doesn't look too bad anyway, so that's all well and good. The next thing we have here is a monster I had made out of green stuff. Before the tentacles and whatnot, it was just kind of the miniature by itself and without the weird head shell he's got. My fiance loved it when it was green, and then when I painted it up, she got all mad at me because it's no longer cute. But this is the first little miniature I built myself. Guess I'm proud of it. It's gross looking. It was fun. I learned some new things, how to use certain sculpting tools, and it's overall kind of cool to make. It's hideous, and I have no idea what the hell I'd use it for. But hey, there it is. There's something. I tried something new. I was able to learn a little bit more of how to do fleshy tones and whatnot. So that was fun. So for the next thing, we have a Soviet T-34. It's I can't remember. It's a cheap kit. I think it's Pegasus Models that makes it or something like that. The plastic is horribly brittle. It just doesn't clip very well, and it doesn't sand very well. But I mean, it's a T-34. They were never really nice looking tanks to begin with. They got horrible seam lines on the real vehicle. So I had fun painting it Soviet green and making it really rusty looking. Flesh colors, they make for good rust, especially the flesh wash. I think it's Reichland Flesh Shade or something like that. Oh, the next one was a Fallout miniature from, I don't know, whatever Fallout miniatures game exists. It's a Brotherhood of Steel guy, but always preferred the green, so made them look like painted them in what the colors seemed to me the trooper armor was in the original Fallout games, so that's what I tried to do, and I was pretty happy with it. You can't quite see the eyeballs in there, but they're just white anyway, so there's no real detail in the eyes on this one. Still a fun build. The resin's a little frustrating because it's you know, there's a lot of flashing on these models, but the detail overall is pretty nice. It's pretty good. I thought I had 2 more dust dudes that I'd finished, but I guess there must have been a problem with the camera or something. To be honest, I'm not too motivated to go and add that onto there. Yep, so that does it for the months of March, April, and June. They were quite a bit of fun to paint. I'll try to upload a little bit more hobby stuff on my channel and, you know, get that kind of stuff done. Unfortunately, the way I film painting models is kind of messy. I'm not sure how the well-known dudes do it all so well, but I'm going to try to figure it out and use something better than just a cell phone camera to take all these videos. If you liked it, that's awesome. I hope I didn't waste your time. Have a good day. Bye-bye now.